What if I told you Jackie Christie's incarceration isn't the end of her influence? She's still pulling strings from behind bars. What if I told you Chris Webber stepped into court carrying evidence so incendiary it left the room breathless? And what if I revealed those explosive proofs were none other than Jackie's own recorded jailhouse phone calls? Jackie Christie, now behind bars, entangled in a web of scandal including fraud and perjury, has just been exposed anew, this time by the very man she spent years trying to silence. In a courtroom charged with tension, in front of Judge Doug, Christie and a jury barely able to keep their composure, Chris unleashed audio tapes that stripped away all pretense. The raw, unfiltered jail calls captured Jackie scheming, manipulating, and revealing secrets that could shatter her once powerful empire. Doug, unable to contain himself, erupted in anger, almost risking contempt of court in a dramatic outburst that stunned the media present. Once you hear Jackie's voice on those recordings, you'll understand why Doug's world is crumbling, and why Chris Webber has reaffirmed that Jackie's reign wasn't just built on deception, it was orchestrated straight from a jail cell. This isn't just a slow descent from grace, it's a catastrophic freefall broadcast on speakerphone for all to hear. Doug sat rigid, jaw clenched, as the courtroom relived the humiliations. Jackie's public handcuffing for charges including perjury, blackmail, and laundering hush money through sham charities. But what followed was an unexpected blow. Chris Webber didn't just produce old voicemails or dusty receipts. He revealed recorded phone conversations from a federal holding facility in downtown LA. The courtroom was charged with anticipation as the judge allowed the admission of the jailhouse phone recordings. Calls between Jackie Christie and three key figures: her daughter Chantel, her attorney, and a mysterious man she tenderly called Baby, a name that instantly raised eyebrows since it was clear this man was someone other than Doug Christie. For days, whispers and speculation had swirled around the trial. Would Chris Webber, the man who had brought much of this scandal to light, produce video evidence? Would there be a confession? The silence that followed the judge's ruling was deafening as everyone awaited the first audio clip. When the recording played, Jackie's voice emerged, calm and composed, but unmistakably shrewd. She whispered conspiratorially, "They don't know half the story. Doug's still playing the loyal husband. I just need this trial to stall. Chris will fold, he always does." The courtroom collectively gasped at the cold, calculating nature of her words. Words that painted a chilling picture of a woman orchestrating a legal drama from behind bars. But the tension ratcheted even higher when the next clip played. Jackie Zaiwa, voice now shaking but laced with a provocative undertone, murmured, "Tell Ramon I miss him and to keep the burner phone close. We'll finish this when I'm out." The mention of Ramon, clearly the baby referenced earlier, sent shockwaves through the room. Doug Christie, who had been sitting rigid and controlled, suddenly lost his composure, his face flushed with fury, his eyes wild with disbelief and betrayal. He stood abruptly, the chair scraping loudly against the floor as the room erupted into chaos. Gasps and murmurs filled the air as Doug accused Chris Webber of attempting to ruin his family with these revelations. His voice cracked with emotion as he shouted, pointing an accusing finger at Chris, "You think this is funny? You think you can destroy my family with this?" Meanwhile, Chris remained stoic, a picture of unshaken resolve. He didn't flinch or respond to Doug's outburst, his calm demeanor contrasting sharply with the storm of emotions swirling around him. The courtroom was a powder keg of tension, Doug's protective fury colliding with Chris's relentless pursuit of the truth. Beyond the courtroom walls, the implications of these calls rippled through the media and public alike. Jackie's calm, plotting, her secret communications with a mysterious lover, and her apparent manipulation of the trial sent shockwaves through fans, friends, and foes. The stark contrast between her poised voice in those calls and the fiery breakdown of Doug Christie painted a picture of a fractured family caught in a legal and emotional battlefield. The recordings didn't just reveal secrets, they unveiled a web of deceit, manipulation, and heartbreak. Jackie's insistence on stalling the trial and her belief that Chris would falter revealed her confidence in outmaneuvering the legal system. But her open admissions about Ramon and the burner phone shattered any illusion of loyalty or innocence, making it clear she was far from the wronged spouse Doug claimed to be defending. For Chris Webber, the tapes were more than evidence. They were a strategic victory in a battle that had been dragging on for months. The unfiltered audio exposed a side of Jackie that no public statement or courtroom testimony had shown before. It gave weight to his claims and cast doubt on the narrative Jackie and Doug had tried so hard to control. The courtroom's reaction to those chilling moments underscored how deeply personal and public this trial had become. The gasps, the disbelief, the emotional eruption from Doug all reflected the devastating impact of Jackie's words, whispered behind bars but loud enough to shatter reputations and redefine the course of the trial. This wasn't just a legal battle. It was a dramatic unraveling of family, trust, and truth, unfolding in real time before an audience riveted by every breath and every secret laid bare. But this explosive moment wasn't born in the courtroom. It started when Jackie, cornered by perjury and obstruction charges, decided to drag both Doug and Chris down in a desperate bid to rewrite the narrative. Though stripped of her glamorous facade, Jackie's ego remained intact inside the federal holding facility, where every word she spoke was recorded, from whispered plots to late-night calls revealing her intentions. In a call to Chantel, Jackie assured, "Doug will be fine. Tell the press he's focused on family. Chris is weak. He won't expose what really happened." But Chris had reached his limit, enduring public vilification as the villain in this tangled saga. Now, with Jackie's own voice confirming her duplicity and secret liaisons, he chose to strike. After submitting the phone logs to prosecutors and with the LAPD's cyber unit authenticating the evidence, the judge authorized public release. VH1 panicked. A source revealed that the upcoming season of Basketball Wives, filmed amid this turmoil, faced cancellation. Doug's endorsements were under threat as the scandal deepened. Behind the scenes, Doug spiraled emotionally. Insiders reported his withdrawal from calls and his solitary walks in Sacramento, hoodie drawn low, avoiding the flashing cameras. A former teammate remarked, "It's not just infidelity. It's the humiliation of being publicly used and still trying to keep his dignity." One of the most heart-rending moments was a second clip of Jackie, quietly sobbing on the phone saying, "I had no choice. If Doug knew the truth, he'd walk away. I had to protect him from me." Imagine the weight of that confession, broadcast in a courtroom packed with peers, press, and former friends. Chris didn't show a hint of satisfaction, but whispered to Doug during a recess, "She never stopped lying to either of us." And with that, the tides shifted. Doug's courtroom meltdown wasn't just raw emotion. It was a spark igniting a public implosion. Exiting court, Doug faced a sea of paparazzi and didn't shy away. He stopped, turned, and declared, "She lied to me for decades, made me look like a fool, and you all helped her." Cameras flashed, social media exploded. The hashtag #DodgerDougnaps trended worldwide within minutes. Chris had held these recordings for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. When Jackie denied ongoing contact with Chris during testimony, it was perjury, and Chris handed over the tapes the very next day. But this wasn't merely revenge. It was a strategic upheaval. Chess, not checkers. Meanwhile, investigative journalists uncovered another layer. Jackie's so-called Youth Wellness Foundation, supposedly supporting youth programs, was a front. The IRS found no real services, just a P.O. box and wire transfers funneled to a shell company linked to none other than Ramon, the mystery baby from the calls. According to insiders, Ramon is a smooth-talking con artist Jackie met at a celebrity spouse's retreat. Suddenly, this scandal spiraled into federal fraud investigations. LAPD broadened its probe into Jackie for financial deception, misuse of nonprofit funds, and conspiracy, all while she remains incarcerated. VH1 quietly removed Jackie from promotional campaigns, postponing her documentary indefinitely. In the eye of the storm, Chantel Christie finally broke her silence on Instagram Live. Tearful and shaken, she said, "I never wanted any of this. I didn't ask to be caught between three adults who can't be honest. This is no ordinary scandal. It's a complex saga of deception, betrayal, and the desperate fight to control a narrative that threatens to consume them all. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over." Chantel finally opened up, confessing that she had long suspected Doug might not be her biological father, but felt immense pressure to keep the secret for the sake of preserving the family's public image. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. This family is a brand. Don't break it. The revelation sent shockwaves through fans. Some applauded Chantel's courage to speak out, while others criticized her for waiting so long. One thing became undeniable. Jackie's web of deceit had engulfed everyone she professed to love. Meanwhile, Doug, secluded in a hotel room, reportedly broke down after watching Chantel's emotional live stream. A close friend described the scene as his entire world unraveling in real time, his daughter, wife, and legacy slipping through his fingers. At the same time, Chris Webber's legal team announced an impending press conference, promising even more explosive evidence. Behind bars, Jackie wasn't retreating quietly either. According to insiders inside the detention center, she's been aggressively dialing old contacts, producers, former lovers, and allies, in a desperate bid for damage control. Things took a bizarre turn when an inmate known as Miss Tony told a tabloid reporter Jackie offered her commissary in exchange for sending a message to the outside world. Tell Doug I never stopped loving him. Tell Chris he was always a mistake. Petty? Absolutely. Classic Jackie? Without a doubt. A guard even overheard Jackie screaming into the phone, "If I'm going down, I'm dragging all of them with me." Now, the LAPD is reviewing more recordings to investigate if Jackie is attempting to interfere with witnesses or orchestrate obstruction of justice from within jail. The judge has already mandated that all of Jackie's communications be closely monitored. VH1's production team is in full crisis mode. One producer was overheard lamenting over coffee. "We gave her a platform and she burned it to the ground. We might all get subpoenaed." Meanwhile, Chris Webber is treating this as a high-stakes political campaign. His legal team recently confirmed they obtained Jackie's private notebooks, filled with handwritten letters, alternate reality show scripts, and a chilling draft email marked to be released if she dies. Inside, according to sources, lies a detailed exposé naming not only Doug, but also VH1 executives, stylists, assistants, and cast members as knowing more than they let on. Chris told close friends, "I don't want revenge. I want the truth. I want peace." But peace seems elusive. He's scheduled a press conference next week to unveil Jackie's burner phone logs, new financial disclosures related to her charity, and a letter from a private therapist suggesting Jackie suffers from compulsive deception disorder. The court braces for chaos. Fans hold their breath. Doug, meanwhile, is on the verge of resigning from his coaching job, having issued a terse statement. No comment. "I've lost enough already." What began with leaked voicemails has exploded into a complex scandal intertwining love, betrayal, money, mental health, and reality TV drama. Jackie is behind bars, Doug is emotionally shattered, Chantel seeks healing, and Chris holds the cards. But what happens when Jackie learns Chris is about to go fully public? The courtroom tension is palpable. Doug, flushed with anger, fists clenched, looks like a volcano ready to erupt, while Chris sits calm and composed, clutching a USB drive that could change everything. Jackie once believed she was untouchable, even behind bars. But the system she manipulated turned against her. The jailhouse phone she used was legally tapped, capturing every whisper and scheme. Part 3 begins with Judge Franklin leaning forward, eyebrows raised, commanding, "Play the next tape." What followed was more than audio. It was the final blow to Jackie's crumbling legacy. Jackie's voice, raw and unaware her words would echo in a federal trial, whispered, "Doug doesn't know half of what I buried. If they dig into those shell companies, we're both doomed." Gasps filled the room. A juror covered her mouth. A reporter muttered, "Jesus." Then came a different voice, Chantel's, asking nervously, "Mom, what if they ask about the baby's paternity again? Should I lie?" Jackie's cold reply, "Lie like your life depends on it, because it does." Doug's chair screeched loudly as he slowly rose, his head bowed not in anger but in utter defeat. The man who had once fiercely defended Jackie, stood loyally by her side through scandal after scandal, now faced an unbearable reality. He had been nothing more than a pawn in her intricate game. A heavy silence fell over the courtroom, but outside, a storm was brewing. Social media ignited instantly, erupting with hashtags like "Shot Jackie Tapes," Shot Doug Play Again, Shock Freakris, and Shot Jailhouse. Jackie trending furiously across platforms. Fans clamored for VH1 to sever ties with Jackie Christie, while behind closed doors, rumors circulated that network executives were scrambling to bury the explosive jailhouse tapes, until Chris Webber's legal team forced their release through the courts. Yet, the moment that truly shattered the internet came less than half an hour later, outside the courthouse. Chris, flanked by his legal team and standing before a sea of flashing cameras and expectant reporters, took a deep breath and declared, with steely resolve, "I didn't want this, but I refuse to be silenced." The statement sent shockwaves through the crowd, signaling that the scandal was far from over and that the battle for truth, and possibly redemption, was just beginning. He revealed an authenticated handwritten note from Jackie. "If I go down, I'm taking everyone with me." The bombshell sent shockwaves. Chris continued, "I was told to stay quiet, to spare lives, but mine was already destroyed. Jackie lied about our affair, about fraud, about everything, including keeping Doug in the dark and manipulating her daughter." Holding up the USB drive, he proclaimed, "This contains Jackie's own voice, detailing cover-ups, fake donations, and misuse of charity funds. I won't let this continue." Doug left quietly through a back exit, head low, surrounded by security. Meanwhile, LAPD confirmed the financial misappropriation probe linked to Jackie's nonprofit is back on, focusing on the very charities named in those phone calls. In a shocking twist, Doug is subpoenaed to testify, not just as a witness, but as a potential accomplice. Some documents Jackie claimed to have hidden appear to bear Doug's signature. Whether he knew remains under investigation. The man once hailed as the devoted husband now faces a starkly different reality. Jackie, meanwhile, has been placed on suicide watch, not due to attempts, but for emotional breakdowns and volatile behavior. Her cell is under constant surveillance after she screamed during a routine check, threatening, "I'll burn it all before they bury me." But it's too late. Her empire is in ruins. VH1 has scrapped her final appearances. Brands have distanced themselves. Her book deal is canceled. The IRS is auditing her mansion. Now, a tell-all documentary is reportedly in the works, not with Jackie, but with Chris Webber. Chantel remains silent. Doug's future is uncertain. Chris stands vindicated. The public is divided. Some admire Jackie as a master strategist undone by her own game. Others see her downfall as long overdue karma. The Jackie Christie saga is far from over, with rumors swirling that another NBA player from her past is ready to drop new evidence, footage, and explosive secrets that could deepen the scandal. Fans are hooked, knowing in reality TV drama there's no such thing as too much, only what's next. Chris Webber's brutal leak of Jackie's jail calls has shattered any remaining control Doug had, leaving him unraveling as Jackie remains, the epicenter of a growing legal storm. But this is just the beginning. If Jackie was making secret calls behind bars, who else was involved? Is VH1 quietly distancing themselves? And was Mona Scott part of the behind-the-scenes damage control? What else is Chris holding back? And why was Jackie so sure the truth was bigger than anyone realized? Doug's courtroom breakdown was intense, but far from the climax. Now, all eyes are on Chantel to see if she'll speak out, while fans debate whether Jackie was orchestrating manipulation from jail or if Chris's actions are fueled by revenge. With Jackie's empire still smoldering and more leaks looming, the drama isn't just continuing, it's escalating, promising even more shocking revelations ahead.